boom, shake the room. Boom, 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 shake the room.
Hello and welcome into this Monday's edition of Entertainment News here at MBE. That was very official, wasn't it? I'm with your co-host Stephen John McLaughlin, and our other co-host with the very round glasses on is John Christopher Walsh. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing splendid and tremendous, Stephen.
I'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel, and of course our Twitch stream, and of course Spotify as well. We're on
Spotify.
talking, John, we talked about this actually just before we go on to the first topic. We were talking about this on Friday, just after our live show, where we've got it in mindset of we're doing a podcast now, and sometimes we're forgetting we're actually
live and interactive.
So I think it was maybe last Monday's show. I was a little bit more relaxed than normally am because I thought this is audio, it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I don't know what it was. I think we were getting back in time.
It's not even the relaxed thing, Stephen. It's just I'm getting into like trances and speaking like off to the wall behind the camera. Not even like, trying to make eye contact with the camera. Yeah. It's just like talking like this, just speaking intently into space.
Funny.
There's a camera there, that's right.
I mean, it's like getting back when we first started doing podcasting. You know, you didn't have to worry about cameras.
It's not as bad as that though, Stephen. If
no,
we were getting back then it'd be, well, hello and welcome to the Movie Burner Hour, where we speak about our favourite movie news.
Well, that was me.
Reviews, and another little bit about my favourite actor or director. I'm depressed here.
Yeah.
Someone please take me out of this hell.
We did commit ourselves to the Movie Burner Hour, didn't we?
We did
for
indeed.
Whatever reason, I'm not sure.
Funnily enough, Stephen, back in those days, more people would have understood me because I was speaking very slowly, very intently, desperately trying to not make a complete and utter fool of myself. Yeah. This is me doing my Roger Hannah.
It was really funny. It was really funny back in the day because obviously you were writing notes upon notes on Sunday.
Why am I wearing these glasses?
I was just basically, I kind of still do it, but not to the extent of reading whole articles. I just kind of pick sort of bullet points out and all that, jazz. But
Steve, I just realised you're wearing glasses as well. We're both a pair of specky bastards tonight.
Proclaimers.
I don't need them. It's neither the Stephen, funnily enough. I think it's just...
It's strained with me, John.
I've
been on that computer all day. So.
For me, it's realistically, Stephen, I don't need them for this distance. But when I'm out walking my dog after the sun goes down, I turn into a completely different person. During the day
it changes when the sun goes down.
It does, yes, my eyesight does. I can see about fucking 100 feet into the distance during the day. At night, you're lucky if I can see beyond 20 odd feet. So I do need glasses for at night. I'm not blind, but if I want to read things, then I need glasses.
When you go,
will you send back a letter from America? That's enough.
Yeah, enough of that before we lose everyone. John,
I don't think we've gained anyone yet, Stephen, to lose them that I'm aware of. Maybe on Twitch.
Yeah. Maybe. Please, someone come in, talk to us. John, we're talking about Zack Snyder. Headlining. Director Zack Snyder.
I need to get this Stream Deck back.
Unveils his desired video game adaptation. Subject to one condition from the creator. Now, director Zack Snyder expresses his enthusiasm for creating a Gears of War film with the stipulation from the original creator that Dave Bautista takes on the role of protagonist Marcus.
I did the graphic better. Get it up, you. Screen Rant. Mine's is better. You should employ me to do your graphic work.
John.
Stephen, we says that, didn't we? Realistically, Dave Bautista always gave his vibes.
John, Guardians in 2014. Man. You're a wrestling fan. You probably knew him before, obviously, films. I didn't. First time I saw him was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And I thought, that guy looks like the guy from Gears of War, the main guy. We had Gears of War back in the old Xbox 360 days, John. 2006, I want to say.
Yeah, it was. That was the very first one,
I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was our first sort of introduction to Xbox Live as well, wasn't it? Call of Duty.
Well, we had Saints Row, didn't we? I think that was the very first one, Saints Row, and I had also my pimp suit jacket. Yeah. I was playing Samuel L. Jackson with a sort of purple, long, flowing pimp coat, and it was tremendous. Running around, toting guns, killing people in car parks. And then also this came out, Stephen, I think maybe 6 months later, something like that. I think you were actually the first person to broach the sort of online side of things between us anyway.
Yeah.
I think you and me have dabbled with Saints Row and says, look, you simply have to get on this.
Yeah. Get
the rest
yourself
was history.
Ethernet cable.
Yes, I was fucking dabbling with Far Cry and stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah.
Being a little
Army of
loner.
2 was another one, wasn't it?
Army of 2, that was great, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Co-op.
Just didn't have enough people online. That was the problem. It never took off. But this did.
It did take off, Stephen, to the point where I've played I think 2 of them. Yeah. I've not actually seen the whole series out, so I don't know where they've went in terms of the characters, the story since the first couple of games. Yeah. Marcus Phoenix, obviously, he was the leader of the group. It was very story rich, very character driven, sort of annihilation, apocalyptic, that's the word I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic, end of times kind of story. I think it was aliens. It was aliens busting out of the ground, and these guys were tasked with taking them on. Yeah. And it felt incredible, the scale of it. Hadn't really seen anything like that before in video games. Also Halo, I may be talking shite actually, Halo probably did it way before that, but it was different.
It was.
Halo was on an alien ring.
John, how do you feel, and how's your past experience been of video games translating over to film? Because we've already talked about obviously format in a little moment, but in general, how's your experience been with previous?
Not been great, Stephen. It'd be fair to say. Obviously Mortal Kombat, first one in the 90s. I mean, I was a kid, so I've got a sort of nostalgic loving
Street
for
Fighter
it.
As well, yeah.
Street Fighter I don't recall, and thankfully I don't want to.
Kylie Minogue and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Really? Kylie Minogue in a film?
Yeah.
Didn't realise she acted. Yeah. Also, she was in Neighbours.
Yeah.
It's not acting though. It's not acting. I watched enough of it back in the day to realise that is not acting.
Struth.
What was that little fucking weirdo, Harold Bishop? You remember him? Became a killer at one point, or violent.
I can't remember that. But
yeah, he did. He turned violent. I don't know if he was killing, but he got violent.
Funny, you know how who was his rival, the guy with the white hair?
Carl.
Carl. You know his next door neighbour. Can't remember his name. White hair chap.
I know who you're talking. I can see him.
Yeah, I can see him. They didn't like each other.
But he's dead now.
Lou Carpenter. His dress sense was terrible.
I'm going to search him up, you know.
It was straight out of catalogue. Belt and shoes to match.
I'm going to sneeze in a moment. I do apologise.
Yeah. Tom Oliver, 85. He's still alive.
He's still alive. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah.
He was, there's Harold there. I wonder if Harold Bishop's still alive, you know? I'm going to search him up now. What an incredible turn.
I wish I'd never mentioned Street Fighter.
We went from Kylie Minogue, video game adaptations, to Harold Bishop. Ian Smith, wow.
Yeah.
How old is he?
Not sure.
Fucking hell, they're both in their 80s, they're doing well. Yeah. That's that Aussie lifestyle, Stephen.
Yeah.
Serves them well. But video game adaptations, not been great in the main, have they? Let's be honest. No. You've got the Dwayne Johnson one.
Yeah.
With Rampage wasn't great by all accounts.
Tomb Raider.
You had Tomb Raider.
Every version of that.
Every version. Angelina Jolie back in the early 2000s, even with her sort of vivacious good looks back then. Really big star.
Yeah.
Couldn't really do anything with it. Was underwhelming. I think it was Victoria.
Can't remember her name. I know who you're talking about.
Swedish actor. Yeah. Again, underwhelming movie. Just beige. I'm trying to think of other video game adaptations in recent times.
You got the one with Tom Holland, haven't you? It's just
Uncharted. Again, pretty poor.
Yeah.
So in the main, they've not been great. The last Mortal Kombat movie was, by all accounts, very good. I've still not seen it. But in the main, they're underwhelming, Stephen. And the big reason for me, and we spoke about it before we come on briefly.
That's how I was asking, just so we could go into the format.
The big reason for them flopping is that they become so engrossed in recreating every single bit of the video game that they lose any sense of sort of identity. Self-contained, sort of unique storytelling.
Yeah.
They just lock into the video game. And we've already seen the video game in a different medium, probably doing it better. So the key, I feel, for these video game adaptations is to obviously pay homage to the video game, take the key elements out of it, the characters, the world, but do your own unique story. You've got to do something fresh. You can't just recite everything we've already seen in a shorter, poorer sort of executed way.
Poorer and poorer, yeah.
Poorer than poor.
John,
you have to do something unique.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I say that, but Last of Us has fucking done great, hasn't it?
I think as well, John, there is templates out there that have worked, formulas that have worked in terms of Disney Plus and Apple TV that have done proper world building shows because they've took their time over it. And I think you're absolutely right. I think when you're doing video game, they do really just sort of do a cookie cutter and take all the best elements out of the video game and try and stick it into a 2-hour movie. And that's all right, I suppose, if that's what you're looking for. It just doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. But I think if you do it, as a series, John, you highlighted Halo. I didn't even know this was a thing.
I knew there was a show. I've not seen it. I didn't realise Neill Blomkamp was your man directing it. That was a surprise to me. He's a guy who's royalty when it comes to action.
Peter Jackson's one of the producers, Peter
Jackson. So you've got the sort of core component. Fran Walsh. You've got the core components of a back behind the camera sort of crew who should make it special. I've not looked at the casting to see if there's anybody intriguing in front of the camera, but they did do a mini series of Halo before, I think Halo 4, and I really enjoyed it. It was like a 3 episodic thing. Halo's always been one for me that feels like it's got great potential to go off and do something story-wise. It's just a really interesting main character in Master Chief, but you've got so many interesting boots-on-the-ground characters, sort of military figures, side characters you can go off and explore. The lore's there, the villains are there. I think it's the Flood, these sort of parasitical, the fuck would you call them? Fungi. Things. You've got the Covenant, I think they were called, alien sort of species that have came together under this religious sort of banner, but they're warring. There's so many interesting aliens, villains, stories to be told in that universe. And look, even the video games have just scraped the surface of what's possible. So for me, the TV show is intriguing. I'll need to go and see it. It's getting all right reviews.
Zack, he's looking to make a movie though, isn't he?
And we spoke about that. I think that's the wrong choice, Stephen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and teach Zack how to sort of formulate fucking film or stories, adapt stories.
It's difficult as well because, with Zack Snyder, he can be a world builder when he has the right project.
Yeah.
And I think if he's going down the road of movie, I think this guy's going to have to try and talk the studio into giving it more than just a one picture for this kind of thing, if that's the way he's going to go. Because given the chance, he can do it. I mean, we've seen it in the past, John, out with obviously the DC stuff, that this guy can create a unique vibe to, a comic book film like Watchmen, you know, and, give it his unique sort of touch on it. It's a Snyder film. And I see that in this type of film as well. But I do think it's either have to be a multi-picture deal or it goes down the road of being a web series. I actually prefer web series for these type of things. We've seen it works for Star Wars. I think it saves Star Wars in terms of world building, changing the pace a bit from what you're used to. I get Star Wars started off as a movie franchise and it's easier for these TVCs to feed off that. I get that. But like you said with Halo, John, Halo didn't need that.
No.
They did a 3-parter and they can world build out with that. They can just keep extending it out, and I think this is what they could do with this as well.
Stephen, we've been discussing Ahsoka. I watched the first 2 episodes last night. That's an example of high caliber TV show, sort of bridging the gap between film and TV. What can be accomplished? Sort of A-list. Is Rosario Dawson an A-list actor? I don't know, but she's certainly up there.
Yeah.
Hollywood level actors coming in. The late Ray Stevenson, I think it was.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. Obviously, your man.
Unit.
Oh, he's fucking massive, Stephen, isn't he?
Shoulders
6'3".
Shoulders.
Shoulders. The first thing I noticed was, my God, he's tall. My God, he's broad. And look, the sort of apprentice who's hanging about with him, I searched her up. She's 5'8".
Yeah.
So she's not small.
She's good as well.
For a woman.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he is towering her. So he was a unit of a guy. Sadly missed, man. A brilliant actor.
I'll tell you one thing I do like about that series, and I know we're going off on a tangent.
No, but it's pertinent to this.
We can bring it back around to what we're talking about, John, is Filoni's not holding hands with this series, and I like that. And I said at the time to myself, because I was watching it myself, as you do, I said, "Whoa, he's not holding hands in this." If you have not watched Rebels or you don't know the references to Rebels, a lot of it did go over my head, John. I'll be honest with you. But
I loved seeing Chopper. That was great.
The
characters,
I knew who they were referring to. Seen a couple of episodes.
I mean,
of Rebels,
Ezra's synonymous, isn't he? Now with Star Wars, people know the name.
And I think, Filoni's just went, something, this is my chance, this is my moment, I'm going to take it and I'm going to do it my way, and he has.
Oh, he's earned it, Stephen.
And you've got to take your hat off to him, I always felt the likes of maybe Obi-Wan or, I don't think Andor to an extent was really holding hands.
No, certainly not.
I think for Obi-Wan
very complex.
And Boba Fett was probably Mando to an extent, perhaps. But
Mando's multi-demographic though. It's a family fun adventure, sort of operatic, like the original Star Wars movies, but on a more sitcom sort of street level.
And that's why I hope that Zack, if he does get this project up and running, I hope it goes down that road. If it does become a web series, then I hope it's not going to be holding your hand. If you're not seeing the video game, we'll make sure you understand this. No, don't worry about the video game. That's a separate thing.
Entity. You want to see that.
Take the characters, take the world and make it your own.
Stephen, it's a story. It's not just sort of Alien meets video game. It's got emotion in it. I remember the characters, the back and forth. There was real sort of bonding, and you connected with this group, and that was something that I feel can obviously make the jump into an actual film or a TV show. There is enough great writing in the actual video game stories for you to adapt it to a single movie if you want to do it each game.
With the
because there's multiple games.
With the condition of Dave Bautista from the original creator, John.
Steve, as you bring this up. I mean,
as an actor though, Dave Bautista, how do you rate him as an actor, John?
I think he's getting better, Stephen. Yeah. I think he is getting better.
I thought he was good in Dune. I thought he was really good.
I thought he was good in Dune's team. I thought he was really good in Guardians too. There was some little moments with that character in Guardians. He brings a laugh, you expect that, but there was little emotive moments.
Yeah.
So I think he is getting better. It's tough for guys who have been in wrestling because we must remember it's an entertainment sort of industry. Wrestling, it's not. I mean, people say it's fake,
and they carry a persona, John. As well. They've got to carry through. Yeah.
I was watching Hulk Hogan on Joe Rogan the other day, and he rightly says, look, people who say it's fake are being disrespectful to guys like me who have suffered many injuries over the years. We are holding the punches back, but there's an art to it.
Yeah.
And you do get injured at times. These guys are putting their bodies on the line, but they are telling stories. It's scripted, it's kayfabe.
It's entertainment, like
it's entertainment. Yeah. But it's a different kind of acting, Steve, and it's almost like theatre.
Yeah.
You're playing to the mass, you're bouncing off of the audience. It's sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, there's a word for it. God, I can't remember. Basically, free phone. You're almost improving.
There's a degree of scripting in episode 3,
yeah. There's improvisation involved in that side of acting, but when you go and make the jump into Hollywood or TV, you have to read the words on the script. To quote Ian McKellen, you have to stand at your marker. You have to deliver the performance because it's in the script. And where do we know? How do we know where to stand? Because they've got this marker here. I'm butchering it. Ian McKellen did it much better than me. So it's harder for guys like that to make that jump because it's transitioning into a different sort of art form, even though it's both acting. We've seen Dwayne get better and better and better. I think he's hit his ceiling though.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get any better.
No, I don't
he's
think
not going to be that good.
I don't think he cares, John, to be honest with you. I think he just enjoys what he does, and you know, he's going to have more misses and hits, but people will remember the hits more than the misses, let's be honest.
In a sense, Dave Bautista, Stephen, can play this character. He can play Phoenix, Marcus Phoenix, all day long. He's got enough about him. He's got enough range. He's got the size. We know he can do acting. We know he's got star power.
Yeah.
So certainly, he's the perfect guy. He's at the right age as well. He's maybe a little bit older than the character in the video games, but he's got a bit of gruff to him. He's weathered.
Yeah.
And we know he'll bring laughs, he'll bring tears, he'll bring everything. So if you are going to do this and it's going to be a big sort of film release, well, it's going to be on Netflix, let's be honest. Snyder signed this deal with Netflix, so they'll be the ones creating it if it's going to happen. I think that'd be a great choice right off the bat. The actors are so important for this, Stephen. You have to bring in the right people. Every bit as much as the script, and that's going to make or break it. I just feel like at times they've not quite cast correctly. Mark Wahlberg is your man in Uncharted. Tom Holland, it's just, no, it's not.
Do you think these type of films and web series get the same kind of budget, John, though?
Well, I mean, if it's Netflix, we're going to get onto that in the next topic as well with Fincher, Stephen. They're certainly, even though they've lost subscription numbers, if you like, subscribers, and maybe the money's not where it was 5-6 years ago, they're still throwing quite a bit of money at this medium, TV and film, and they're still in a battle with Disney Plus and Amazon and Paramount to try and win this streaming war, if you like.
Yeah.
And they're still giving a degree of freedom to brilliant talent like Fincher and Zack Snyder, so I think there'll be enough money to make this, Stephen. But look, I was going to bring it up. Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this, Stephen. Snyder.
I was going to talk about it, John, but I thought
it looks great.
It was more interesting. Yeah.
But there was elements of it. I spoke about it, I think, in a show last week, or maybe the week before. I've lost the plot with it. Just felt a little bit TV-esque. Some of the visuals were a little bit... I don't know if it was a deliberate choice to make it look like that, but it just felt a little bit... I can tell this is TV. This is a streaming film.
Yeah.
This is not like a top tier, like big release from Disney or Warner Brothers that said unbelievable, limitless money flung at it. But that's like, you're going to get that with Netflix. There is limitations. They're not going to throw $300 million. It's not fucking
no,
your man. It's not your. I'm blanking on his name. Jesus Christ, how do you blank on his name, man? The Irishman.
Scorsese.
It's Scorsese. Yeah. It's not Scorsese where we just want to have a guy of that calibre produce a movie on our streaming service. Let's give him $400 million.
Yeah.
And you're not worrying about paying it back. I mean, Snyder's good, but he's not that good.
John, one of the things that, I think will make this possible is the fact that Snyder has worked with Batista before in Army of the Dead, which I'm pretty sure I saw on Netflix. It was a Netflix film, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Sequel as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I think there's every possibility that, that this is a goer. I hope it is, because I do like the video games. I think there is potential.
I totally forgot again. I'm doing it again when I'm typing things here and I'm fucking on the screen. Clown.
Army of Thieves.
Army of Thieves. Yeah. I keep saying Army of the Dead.
I think Army of Thieves is the...
It's a prequel. Yeah, it's a prequel to Army of the Dead. Why has it brought that up?
I'm not really
sure. When I searched Army of the Dead budget.
It's a strange one, isn't it?
No.
Really sure.
Is that right?
It's Army of the Dead, yeah. It definitely is. Yeah, look. Army of the Dead.
So why is it not giving me the budget information
from 2021?
The numbers, let's see then. Let's see
the numbers, yeah.
Can you tell me the budget here, big boy? Let's go. $90 million, Stephen. So that's not Gears of War though.
No.
That is a sort of heist zombie movie. There's a lot you can do practical with that. We've seen that with The Walking Dead. A lot you can do to reduce the budget. If you're doing a Gears of War movie, I don't care where it's popping up, if it's on Netflix or it's a big
one.
I hope it is. 2021.
George A. Romero. Yeah.
No, I may be talking shite then.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's.
No, it's the franchise. It's based on his.
Yeah, it's based on
franchise.
Obviously, yeah. Army of the Dead. Yeah.
But you're going to have to spend a lot more money, Stephen, on a Gears of War movie to do it right. Just to attract the calibre of actor. I mean, Batista's not going to be cheap now. He just isn't. No. It's going to require a good bit of sort of pay to get him in and doing this movie. Understand he's worked with him, he'll want to work with him again.
Yeah.
Work for actors. We've seen that with the round table.
Yeah.
But it's going to cost north of $150 million easy to make a movie like this. Again, for me, love to see it happen, but my preference would be a TV show.
I think so.
5-6 seasons, high calibre, $8, $9, $10 million an episode. And you can tell the story long form. You're not hamstrung having to take things out because it's a 2-hour running time. It's just better. We've seen it with Star Wars. We've seen it with Last of Us on HBO. It gives you a chance to, if you want to nail every element of the video game and retell it bit by bit, that's the best place to do it.
Snyder's Justice League proves that, John, that try to cram too much information into 2 hours. And let's be honest, that was the sort of marker, wasn't it, for the studio? Just the 2 hour 20 mark.
Yeah, they were obsessed with that.
For such a information filled film. It just wasn't going to work. When you saw it broken down into a different format, it seemed to work. The pace of it worked a lot better, and I think we just came to the point where most audience members are acclimatised to change in pace to
Steve,
a web series as well.
In retrospect, we should have had a 2-parter for Justice League with Zack Snyder. If he hadn't had that sort of family tragedy losing his daughter, do you think it would have been better than a part 1 than a part 2, and having the deep story with Cyborg and having the deep story with obviously Batman getting into that realm and fucking haunted?
I think so, yeah. They could have balanced it correctly, John, and it would have worked. I think in terms of giving each character enough time on screen to flesh out their story. I mean, I always maintained if they shouldn't have done it at all, but if they were going to do it, they should have done it 2 parts. I felt the film came too soon.
Yeah.
But just getting back to, obviously, the reformat of the film worked better than the cinematic version that we got. And nothing to do with Schneider, nothing to do with Whedon. It's nothing to do with that. It was more the format and cramming too much information into one film. It just didn't work for me.
It didn't. And that's where the pitfalls are.
Yeah.
With video game, any movie. If you've got a dense story you're adapting from, we've seen it with The Lord of the Rings. We've also seen Dune's been done brilliantly, but again, then he has split the first book into 2 parts because he realises what he's got. It's dense.
Yeah.
It's all about the adaptation. It's all about the casting and just getting the right people involved. And I think with Zack, you've got a good start because stylistic, I think it just works. His stylistic flair works for that video game.
Duologies, John, and I still maintain The Hobbit should have been a duology. I think they just stretched it out too far. I get they had too much.
That's Peter Jackson though, he just can't help himself.
It was a trilogy. I did Lord of the Rings trilogy, so it has to be the Hobbit trilogy. And I just felt that, the story just, sometimes you can stretch it out too much. It's just getting that balance.
How you get away with that though, Stephen, was there was a lot of ambiguity in terms of what was happening with Gandalf in that show, or in that book. Tolkien and Gandalf disappears for half the book, and then he just writes in, here he's come back again.
I'm here.
I've been away doing business for the council. I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't the council. It's been so long since I've read that book, which is disgraceful. I used to read it every year. But he was off in Mutwood dealing with
but you know what I mean, though? I mean, we're talking about Justice League and try to cram too much into 2 hours, but then the sort of flip side of that, you're trying to stretch possibly a two-part story into a 3-part story.
No, I mean, there's enough video games, so there's enough story there that you can adapt it and maybe do. I mean, I don't know, Stephen, the sky is the limit really for this. If you are going to do it and you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
That's why for me, preferably I'd go for a TV show.
Yeah.
Because there's so much storytelling. The characters have went on a journey. And if you're doing a movie, realistically, you're not going to go beyond 3 movies. And if you are, you're turning into a series. Then you're talking, it really has to be high calibre, like Harry Potter, fucking, I didn't like Hunger Games, but Hunger Games, where it's like 5, 6, 7 series of film franchise. Is Netflix the right place for that? I think you have to start releasing it in theatres and getting box office.
That's why video games don't go the distance. They don't, in movies, I mean.
Yeah.
When they have Tomb Raider, I think they made 2 with Angelina Jolie, and then obviously they rebooted it a few years ago. The same with all these ones like Rampage. They don't make it past the first film because they don't take off, because there's not enough time to sort of world build.
I just don't think that Rampage though, Stephen. Rampage is never a...
It's a strange one, John. Have you ever played Rampage?
No, it was before my time.
It's a strange one to pick to convert it into a film to begin with, because it was just a little fun sort of 2D game.
Yeah, the story's not there. No. And with Tomb Raider, I mean, for me, I may have been too young when I was playing them, but it was just a sort of adventure explorer game. It was like, it was okay. I don't really recall much story.
If you're playing the part, watching the part's pretty boring.
I don't recall the story all that much standing out and being unbelievable. Maybe it was. Maybe I have to go back and play them. I'm not going to. But there's so many other great video games out there. You think of The Last of Us. I mean, that is tailor-made for HBO. Yeah. You just know. You hear they're doing it. They do it. It's Pedro Pascal. You just know it's going to be fucking special.
Dead by Daylight, John. Did you watch that?
I mean, there's mythology, Stephen. There is lore there, but how would you make it work in a TV show? I just don't know.
I would prefer it to be like a game show.
Yeah, it's almost like Suicide Squad, isn't it? It's that vibe where it's like a challenge or a trial when you go in.
A bit like Crystal Maze.
but in the actual game, it's the entity. It's like this sort of like fucking other real thing that's taking you, it's killing you. How do you make that work? You could twist it and make it almost like Suicide Squad, Squid Games.
Squid Game, yeah.
But I mean, it kind of is Suicide Squad as well. You've got this sort of central force controlling people. And if they step out of line, then they get liquidated. So it's kind of similar. I don't think Dead by Daylight's one it could ever make a jump. There's mythology there behind the characters and the rationale for doing what they're doing, but not enough for a TV show or a film.
Rationale.
There is. I mean,
Michael Myers.
It's like Feng Min. Yeah. She's an ex-gamer. She's pissed off. She's been brought into this somehow. You've got other characters like Ace Visconti. They've got little backstories. You can read about it. There's a degree of mythology, but not enough. Not enough.
I think we've had enough of this as well, haven't we? I think we should move on to our next
my preference, Stephen, if he was given the opportunity to make it 2, I'd pick Halo. I just think Halo's I'm more connected to Halo. I've played all the Halo games. I love the franchise. I love the character. The stories are magnificent. And it's just a better universe. It's a more open story for me. Even the side players, you can go off and do something, and it's not hindered to one specific. I mean, I've not played the rest of the fucking games in Gears of War. Maybe it goes off world, but Halo is galactic. It's galaxy level.
Yeah,
there's storytelling,
more room to play.
Large. Yeah. There's a bigger sandbox.
Yeah.
And it's getting more razzmatazz.
John, we're going to move on to our next topic anyway, and this is the one I picked out first because I thought it was very interesting. But
yes.
It's kind of under the radar at the moment, but I'm pretty sure, as it's getting promoted on its release on Netflix, it will get bigger promotion and people will be talking about it. And unveiling the striking poster for David Fincher's upcoming Netflix film.
What a striking poster it is indeed.
This week at the Venice Film Festival, David Fincher's newest film, The Killer, is poised for its premiere. Preceding the event, a teaser poster has been revealed, adapted from a graphic novel by Alexis Nolant and Luc Jacquemont. The movie follows the story of a hitman portrayed by Michael Fassbender, who grapples with his own sanity while anticipating his next assignment. Big fans of Michael Fassbender, John, over the years, haven't we? Yeah. Good guy, I like him. I think Tilda Swinton's in this as well.
It's always a good choice.
David Fincher, John, funny because 30 years ago-ish, this guy, I was introduced to him, not personally, introduced to him through Alien 3, which I didn't like.
It? Yeah, did Alien 3,
and I thought, nah, you're okay.
See, I've not seen Beyond the Aliens. I've got no desire.
3 or 4 years later, we get 7. Fight Club follows that up.
Yeah.
Panic Room. The list goes on. It just gets better and better.
Zodiac,
fantastic film, John.
He's just a
Social Network.
Yeah.
As well. A big fan. I think it's fair to say.
What can you say about the guy? He's just one of the most innovative directors of his generation.
And this is a passion project for him, I believe it. Just reading into some of the sort of backstory to this and some of the trivia.
I just love that poster. I think it's incredible.
The book as well, John. This is a 20-year ongoing passion project for Fincher, and it's something that he's been pursuing for the best part of 2 decades. I think he's met up with Michael Fassbender, 2 of them big fans of the book, and decided there must be something in this. Obviously, Netflix stepped up with the cash, and we're going to get this film. It's upcoming. I'm looking forward to this, John. This is definitely down my street. I like these type of films, and I like that poster as well.
Poster's great, Stephen. Yeah. It's almost like it's acrylic. It's like acrylic paint.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. The vibe it's giving you. Yeah, it's just a single poster, but you can see he's got the little hat on. It's almost like what do you call those hats again? It's not a top hat. It's like a fedora.
Yeah.
Dare I say, a Hawaiian shirt.
Yep.
Looks like a
trench coat.
Yeah, like a trench coat, Mac type thing.
What's that?
He's pointing the gun right at you.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. You can see within the character, even in this sort of fucking still image, you can see that he's tortured.
Yeah,
he's got something going on. There's levels to the character. And look, Fassbender's had an interesting career, it has to be said. I'm just going to bring him up briefly because he's been up and down a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah.
When you think about it, he's had some
brilliant... Like his accent, yeah.
I mean, he's Irish, Austrian, isn't he? German-Irish, I should say.
German-Irish, yeah.
He's done some interesting films, but he's also done some shysters in recent times, so what the fuck is going on here? Maybe this is not going to work. This connection does my head in. There you go, it's away. Can't reach this page, but we're streaming. We're still on.
Yeah, it's probably that's killing us.
Yeah, it shouldn't be though. It should be able to stream and
Michael
do
Fassbender, John. First film you saw him in?
God, fuck. I don't actually know, Stephen. It maybe Band of Brothers was the first thing I seen him in, period. Yeah. Way back.
I'd be lying to say I remember him in it.
Probably First Class.
Yeah. Either that or Inglourious Bastards. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Around about that time period.
What came first? Probably Inglourious Bastards. I'm not sure.
Did it? Yeah, I think Inglourious was about 2014, 2013.
A lot earlier than that.
Was it?
Yeah,
2012?
So, yeah.
I've lost the plot with time, Stephen.
It might have been 2000 and...
Was it as far back as that? Yeah. First Class was 2011.
Maybe.
Wow. Was it really that far back?
Maybe wrong though.
My sense of time is gone. Completely
it's gone.
I think you may be right, Stephen. I think it's quite a bit back because you think it's been
Steve Jobs.
It's been some interesting films come out from Tarantino. Django Unchained, obviously.
Yeah.
The other, Hateful Eight, and they've all been after Inglourious, so it's quite a bit back.
Yeah.
How far back is it? Fucking hell. It is 2009. Yeah. Wow.
I remember it
years
well
ago.
because I got it on DVD not Blu-ray, DVD. I got it on. And I remember watching it on New Year's Day. And I was having some Jewish penicillin soup. It was incredible.
You know, I've not had that in a long time.
Yeah.
And I think I need it just now.
The soup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of a throat thing going on just now. And I may need to have some penicillin soup. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really fucking prominent, Stephen, was he? Prior to...
I don't remember him in Band of Brothers.
I mean, he was a very
could pick
young...
him out now, but I wouldn't have remembered him then.
Yeah, but I wasn't watching that back in the day, Stephen. You have to remember.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I was watching it way after the
7 episodes wasn't a lot.
I mean, I think myself, looking at his filmology, it's got to be Inglourious Basterds was the first I've seen him in. Yeah,
I think so.
And again, Stephen, this kind of typifies Michael Fassbender's career. He's got 8.1 movies, 12 Years a Slave, 7 rated movies, and then recently he's got Take Flight, which is a short, 4.5, Assassin's Creed 5.6, Song to Song 5.6.
Yeah, shorts. Yeah, he does quite a few shorts.
The Snowman, I actually liked The Snowman.
I thought it was okay. I don't know if I reviewed that or not. I can't remember. I remember it was on our site at one point.
The most shocking thing to me, Stephen, is he's not been in a movie for fucking 4 years.
Dark Phoenix.
Wasn't his fault, though, was it?
Almost killed his career. Kung Fury.
Fury? Where's that? Oh, he's going to appear.
I thought you've seen the first one, haven't you?
Kung Fury, Stephen. It's amazing, man.
David Sandberg, yeah.
It is sensational. What a film that was. A 20-minute short on YouTube. Just incredible. He goes back into an alternate universe. Hitler's trying to time travel.
Only time Arnold will be the president.
The Hoff's in it.
Yeah.
The Hoff's there. I mean, I think, Sandberg, I think he was the guy who did the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He has Kung Fury, yeah.
He's Kung Fury, yeah. It was just brilliant. Yeah. Even the making of it, just incredible. Sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, ingenious techniques they obviously did to make it. Fucking treadmills and shit. Stephen Fassbender's great though. He's a brilliant guy, as you say. He's a good guy. It comes through in the interviews and stuff like that. And having him appearing with talent, I mean, I'm going to bring it up, the killer, and see who exactly is confirmed for this movie. Having him appear with Fincher behind the camera, obviously, but Tilda Swinton next to him. Like, so let's have a look. Do we recognise anybody else in this?
Alice Howard stands out. I don't know if it's for his acting or if it's for his...
He's Fivehead.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket, yeah.
I know
Moneyball.
The face, yeah. Lost World, of course. Yeah.
He was in Mank,
which
was another Fincher movie.
I've not seen, John.
That was Gary Oldman, wasn't it? It was based on, God, what was his name? Actor. It was an actor, wasn't it? Was it a film? Was it I want to say it was like a film. Famous film. Fucking hell. Where is Mank? Help me out here, please.
Had it as well.
Yes, I did have it. I'll just get back to him. You know what? Fucking previous directors, Mank. It was Citizen Kane, wasn't it? Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane screenplay. He's worked with him. So, Stephen, there's a good cast. It's an interesting concept. This guy, I think he's an assassin, he says. And as he's tracking the guy, the target down, he's going through a bit of a fucking crisis. His reality's warping. He's losing all sense of being. It's an interesting concept. This guy's a revolutionary filmmaker. I have got a separate article where there's some criticism getting flat. Not so much criticism, but
reservation.
Regretful criticism, if you'd like, where he's stepped away from traditional filmmaking, working with the traditional studios, big releases in the theatres, to work solely for a streamer, as they call them, Netflix.
You said, John, it worked for Martin.
It worked, yeah. And it's working for Zack, and it's worked for other people, Alfonso Cuarón, to name a few, who went on to win Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Presenting streamer films to the Academy Awards. So, I mean, there is criticism, but you can't take it away. He's a world-class director.
The flip side as well, John, is that Netflix will take gambles on these type of projects. So
and they'll give them the money to make it happen, whereas a theatre, or not a theatre, an original studio, like Warner Brothers, Disney, they are completely paralysed with fear.
Sequels.
Not just sequels, paralysed with fear that anything will flop and will not make them money. So that just stunts any sort of originality and possibility of making a movie like this. And I think even the Killers of the Flower Moon, the next Martin Scorsese movie, that may be coming out in a streaming service as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Amazon or something like that. I can't recall.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
All the best in the original movies seem to be either getting made with A24 or Blumhouse if it's horror, or going to a streaming service. The studios, fucking Jojo Rabbit and things like that aside, they're just churning out remakes, quasi-sequels.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
they play it safe every time now, John.
There's too much
at stake, isn't there? TV studios. Unfortunately, they forgot the art.
You want me to bring this up and read this, Stephen? Do you want to read it? It's this quote here.
Let's do it.
It's your man, Thierry Frémaux from Cannes.
Terry
Frémaux.
Fincher has left cinema. Fincher now works for streamers, where he's directing incredible stuff. I tried to explain this to him modestly. Obviously, that he doesn't exist anymore, at least for us. What a stuck-up snob you are.
Yeah, they really
for
are
a reason left
bastards.
up to his own liking. He wants his creative freedom. He doesn't want to fight with studio heads. His film tends to be very expensive, but I'd love for him to come back to cinema. He's one of the greats. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. You'd love him to come back to cinema. The insinuation being that cinema is only really cinema if it's made by a studio, a traditional studio, and the rest is just, again, like Spielberg said, it's Emmy level stuff. It's just TV movies. Which is just bollocks, because, as I've said, Cuarón, I want to say, what's he called? Del Toro. Not Benicio, the other one. Guillermo. They've all won Academy Awards for streamer movies in like the last 10 years, so it's just not adding up, really. There's high calibre. Minari was a streaming movie.
Isle of Dogs, John.
Isle of Dogs, that was Wes Anderson. Yeah. That come up there?
No, I was just thinking about it. I was thinking it was a unique film, you know.
I loved it, Stephen.
Very unusual, and it was there a gamble in it? I don't know who the studio was.
You know, I'd have to check that, but when I went to the theatres, it was just brilliant. It was a tiny little theatre. It was just great. It was like 4 or 5 rows, maybe a little bit more, maybe 10 rows. It was a teeny little theatre.
Netflix have to do. They have to create their own little theatres.
They do, Stephen. There was talk of that. They would buy up, and then they can just release it in their theatres.
Blockbuster, but Netflix cinema. Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do it.
Yeah.
They should do it. Yeah. And then they get the best of both worlds, because that, Stephen, it's been discussed before about Netflix. I think it was actually Robert Meyer Burnett had to think about that there. Mid-rift. Pup. He nailed it. And I think he was on the Compare show. They were talking about Netflix's problems financially and how they were spending so much money in original films for big directors like this, but then they weren't promoting it enough, and it was only appearing on a streaming service where you can't really recoup the financial sort of outlay in the movie just sort of solely through subscriptions only. You need to put these movies out in some kind of theatrical run to get your money back. So how did they do it? And he said the same as you. Maybe put out a little fucking chain of theatres out there where it's just Netflix only content.
Even hire out a certain theatre within a theatre. Do it, you know.
I don't know why they're not doing it. I think they actually have got a theatre. It may be one in Hollywood. And they do put Netflix stuff out, but it's still limited. It's like 2 weeks.
And I would go, I think it would be like an independent film theatre like we have here in Glasgow.
You get to see maybe even TV content.
John, I mean, we've been to it. We've been to that theatre, and it was great. It was just had a good feel to it, good vibe in the room as well.
And we've seen the directors.
And that's the kind of thing you want to see, you know. But I mean, I'll see this. I was going to say I'll go and see this. I'll hit that button and watch it.
Stephen, I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. Hit the play button. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Fincher's a great director, one of a kind. And much like what we spoke about there with Scorsese, they're making passion projects. And that's always a good sign. When someone's been thinking about something for 20 years, trying to make it into a reality, you know that they're going to give their all.
Was Mank on a streaming service?
It was on Netflix.
So you're thinking Gone Girl was probably sort of big film before
that was
the streaming service almost 10 years ago. So I don't know whether or not that Thierry guy that's what he's saying. He's not.
No, I'm thinking about someone else.
He's not done a studio film for the best part of nearly a decade, I suppose.
Oh yeah, it was a fucking amazing movie, Gone Girl.
Really good,
yeah. It was almost like blackmailing, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that. I think the actual person kidnapped his wife, was blackmailing him or something like that. It was fucking amazing. I remember watching it back in the day. He's just incredible. He really is. He's an incredible. What was I thinking about though when I was thinking about Depp? There was another movie. Johnny Depp did a movie where it was like he was all done up in makeup. What the fuck was that called? And who directed that? Why is that come into my head? I now need to find it before we move on. I know you're not a huge Depp man.
I don't mind him. It doesn't. If he picks a good project, John, I'll watch it. But
it's a little bit further back than this.
Yeah.
Dior Sauvage. What? Black Mass.
Yeah,
Who directed that?
Yeah.
Scott Cooper. Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait, John. We're going to move on.
Can't wait.
Yeah. It's a blast from the past.
Yes.
Looking very for a blast from the past, as Ringo said. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
He was looking for the lyrics for Get Back.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Looking for a blast from the past. Try to help Paul.
Oh, right. Yeah. Was that when he was sitting in the chair rattling the bass guitar?
Yeah. John, something
brought the song together.
This is something we've talked about a few years ago. It might have been last year. About obviously Neill Blomkamp's unmaterialised Robocop sequel to obviously the Paul Verhoeven 1987 original, depicting a cyborg officer restoring order in a dystopian Detroit, achieved remarkable success at the box office and remains a revered gem of the 1980s action cinema, John. I'm very disappointed with this because I know that surprisingly Peter Weller was involved in this at one point, and this man is probably about 80 odds now.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy, yeah, but he was on board to come back to play obviously Alex J. Murphy / Robocop, and this apparently was going to take place the day after the original film. And I can imagine Neill Blomkamp nailing this look and feel that you would believe 9%. You would believe as Robocop 3, but I wasn't involved in that.
I was going to say that though, Stephen.
He wasn't involved in that film, and rightly so.
I was going to get into the whole sequels. Was it the right thing to do a sequel? Because you look at the second one, it's not doing great, is it, in terms of rating? Is this a case of just leaving it at one film?
Yeah,
like leaving it alone. Because the first one was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I'm sad to see they're not doing it because I thought I loved the original, as you mentioned, John, the original one from '87. A fantastic
I loved
film.
all the movies when I was a little guy. I was obsessed
Robocop
with it.
2 was okay as well, but the first one was so good.
Yeah, it was, and I don't know how I was allowed to watch it. I was watching this in the 90s.
He had it on VHS when he was. My mum and dad can't go to jail now; they're too old.
Stephen, I was like fucking 5 when I was watching these movies.
Kevin was 6 when this came out, and he had it in VHS by about 1989, 1990. So he was about 9, about the same age as yourself, John. When you were introduced to it.
Yeah, I was about 5 when I started watching this film, and I don't know how I was allowed to see these. It did traumatise me, but I loved it as well. But that was my childhood, watching film and getting traumatised.
Yeah.
But then also liking it. I didn't like Freddy Krueger. And obviously I grew up watching that for some fucking reason. That was introduced to me when I was about 6 as well, and haunted me for about a decade. Maybe not a decade, I wasn't 16 when I got over it. Maybe a couple of years it haunted me. But yeah, that was my childhood, getting introduced to movies like this. And look, I would never change it. It shapes you for who you are. Kids are just too wrapped up in cotton wool now. They're just fucking robots to their 12.
John, to be fair though, and
watching
you've got to remember that
animated films.
I think the British censors had to actually cut down a certain scene. It was the Ed 209 shooting into the guy that had the gun. It was a demonstration that went wrong, and the version that we do see was actually more full gore. Yeah, it's available on YouTube if anyone wants to go and watch it. I have. But
that's what made that movie so good, Stephen. It was the sort of no holds barred gore.
Yeah,
guys getting melted in fucking acid and him losing his hand, and they were laughing and joking about it. It was just something of its time, and it worked. It was practical. It had that vibe, almost like the early Terminator movies. It just worked. You can't remake those movies now. We've seen it. They tried it a couple of years ago. It was fucking dreadful. Soulless pish. And it's something about Verhoeven. It's something about Weller. And even the villain, your man Kurtwood Smith, he was the villain, wasn't he? Was it Boudicca?
Yep. Clarence
Boudicca. They made that movie what it was. And again, if you're bringing in Blomkamp and you're making a sequel, you'd have to recapture the lightning in the bottle that the first one had, and you'd have to bring back all of the elements of what. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've watched it. I presume Boudicca died in Robocop. He got his comeuppance.
Do you remember the spike that came out of Robocop's hand? It was to look for files.
Yeah.
He used that
right in there.
Right there, yeah.
Yep. I need to go back and watch that film, man. It's been so long.
Yeah, John, it's so quotable as well.
But you're losing Boudica. You can't. How are you going to top that villain? You just can't.
Well, they tried to do it in obviously 2 and 3, didn't they? It didn't work. I think they did some kind of. I think Kane was the villain in Robocop 2, the cyborg, which was a sort of more.
Which one was it when he get took apart? I feel like that was everyone.
I think Robocop 2 was the one that happened quite a bit.
Yeah, he kept getting taken apart.
Yeah, some suit as well, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I fucking loved it.
And I did read somewhere that originally the original director wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think he was close to obviously appearing in the film, but he was too big to fit in the suit.
The suit was iconic. I had the toys and everything, man.
I think it worked out well because I thought Peter Weller was fantastic in the first film.
Never thought I'd turn into Peter Weller when I was older.
Is there a quote there? Did I see a quote from Neill Blomkamp?
There is, yes, there is a quote. We'll bring that up onto the screen just now.
That's the only film that I would have ever done where I would have tried to basically simulate Paul Verhoeven's directing style. I want it to feel like it was the day after. Like if Dick Jones fell out the window on Monday, this would have been Tuesday. Incredible. It was like literally the next morning that it began, so it was a direct sequel exactly in the same style.
That would have been great.
And he would have been able to do that. I don't know what the reasons for it was. I take it you just didn't. I don't know.
Chappie, yeah.
I'm not really sure what the reason for it was.
I love Chappie. Chappie was a right good film. That was South African, wasn't it? Really did like that a lot. That was a good little film. That was his. It was Blomkamp's Robocop.
Yeah.
So you're kind of living vicariously through that film in a sense of what you'd have got with a Robocop sequel. That was great. That was a good film. And again, it's just that concept of that it's more pertinent now than ever. What makes a human in a sense? I mean, you stripped him back to his bare components. It's just the brain and I think the heart and the lungs or something that's left. But he still retains that humanity because of...
In the memory, yeah.
In the memory. Yeah. And it's really the sort of consciousness and the soul. That is what humans are all about, really.
John, they've tried to recapture it in a remake. I think Michael Keaton and Samuel Jackson were in this one, and it was rated 12. You know, it's a big step down from, I think originally the first movie was an 18.
It was 18.
And I think down the years it's been watered down to maybe about 15 or something like that.
It's the problem with films these days, Stephen. They spend so much money on films, and also the budgets have to be recouped in the actual box office. How do you recoup that? By opening it up to as many eyeballs as possible. There's that term again, eyeballs. But now it's used in an actual, hopefully sensible context, not just fucking saying eyeballs out of nowhere. Multi-demographics. So you have to bring the rating down. And it just neuters the movie. Yeah. It's like Total Recall's the same. If you were to go in the Predator movies, they're just not got that sort of, don't know, intangible something that made those movies special in the 80s.
I think the uniqueness of them as well at the time, it's not just obviously the period they were made in, they were original stories as well. I know Robocop's probably based off graphic novels, but just the style of the way it was made, the way it was directed, the casting was fantastic as well. As you said, John, characters is a big thing as well. Yeah. Clarence J. Boudica.
He's just iconic, isn't he?
Yeah, and as I said, so quotable as well. Can you fly, Bobby? Those kind of things. And give
the man a hand.
You know, just that accent. I love that accent. But got to laugh at that. Tom Toes.
Is that?
Rotten Tom Toes.
Tom Toes.
Yeah.
That's Screen Rant for you.
Yeah.
32%.
Well, at least they're not using ChatGPT.
Seriously, Chappie only get 32%. I think that's fucking harsh. I thought it was a not bad film, man.
At least it was only on Tom Toes. It wasn't on.
I thought it was decent. John, genuinely thought it was decent.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that.
It's a cool little film. It's decent. 56, I think, is more accurate. I'd give it like 50-60%. Thought it was watchable.
Yeah. John, you disappointed this hasn't been made? This film.
When was the talk of it being made, Stephen?
We talked about it maybe 2 years ago.
So he was going to remake it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm glad it didn't happen then, Stephen.
Yeah.
Nah, because you've not got Peter Weller, and he's too old to.
Well, he was going to do it 2 years ago. He was on board to do it.
Fucking old though, isn't he?
I think it was just going to be.
But then you think of the motion of the characters.
You just get the body double in, don't you? He just has to do this sort of stuff unmasked, doesn't he?
Nah, Stephen. Just as I says, for the reasons I says. You can't make movies like that now. You just can't do it. There's something about it. The energy of that period is gone. People have changed. It's doomed to fail. There's just something special about that 80s time period.
2019 he bowed out, John. Yeah.
2019,
Robocop Returns, it was going to be called. Yeah.
I don't know. It couldn't have been any worse than that god awful fucking one we did.
Perhaps that's why it didn't get made. Maybe he wanted to make it in that style, that fashion of the day.
It would have been
and
interesting.
The studios were like, oh no, can't do that. Can't do that. What demographic are we aiming at this at?
I know. Nah,
same ones that watched the first one. That's
who would have been in charge of actually putting it out as well? Which sort of studio would have did it?
Funnily, I think at the time, I may be wrong. I think something that kind of Orion Pictures at the time.
Orion Pictures, yeah.
They were a big sort of 80s, 90s.
Rings a bell.
Distributor at the time, but I'm not really sure, John.
Because I can almost see the image, the actual logo.
Kinda,
yeah, I remember that.
Thing,
yeah, I do.
Pictures. I'm not sure if they did.
You know who had the best opening of any sort of production company in the history of cinema for me? Well, one THX, I think it was. That intro was fucking amazing, but that's not a production company. I think that's just like an effects company. God, what were they called again? DreamWorks.
The little 20th Century Fox. Yeah.
The little guy with the fishing rod. Yep. Just an amazing little intro.
Yeah.
Loved it. The little animation.
Always liked Universal. Always liked the.
Listen, I tell you what, Stephen. I've not had the opportunity to see it often enough, but an actual Walt Disney film, like going and seeing the animated live action stuff. I think I went to see fucking Aladdin.
Yeah.
I think I went to see Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Lion King.
Yep.
Seen them opening nights, I think, pretty much in the theatres. There's something about the actual Walt Disney, the music, and the little fucking castle and the stars, and it's just, I think it's fireworks going off. I'm trying to think of the actual song now that I think about it. Yeah. It's just magical. That just sets you off on a sort of lovely little foundation of film goodness.
Yeah.
When you go into a theatre and that's kicking it off, you're like, yep, I'm here for this. I love those. Listen, people say to this day, those live action movies like Soul, they're not as good as the animated originals. You've still got the animated originals, dickhead. I grew up with them.
Yeah.
I watched The Lion King when I was a little guy. I watched Aladdin when I was a little guy. I had the toys. I got the fucking shit out of Mackie D's, the Happy Meal stuff and shit like that. I was there. I loved it. Those live action movies are better than they get credit for. Well, some of them anyway. Don't know about Dumbo. Did I ever watch Dumbo? I think I did. Colin Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin's fucking great, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great live action remake. Beauty and the Beast is stunning. Ewan McGregor singing is Lumiere, not so stunning, but I listening to that from time to time, so I'm kind of contradicting myself. It's just the start of it, the sort of orchestral stuff. I love those live action Disney remakes. I love them. So go and fuck yourself. It's all subjective, but I'm right. I don't know how we got into that. It was Orion Pictures. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked for me. Not for me. It's too late. You need to be in that era. You just cannot capture. It's like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Even think of Back to the Future, the third movie's not as good as the other two because it's in the 90s. It's just something was lost. There's something about the 80s, Stephen.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. You think of the comedic actors, Chevy Chase, even the likes of, I don't know,
Steve Martin,
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
They weren't the same in the 90s, were they?
No.
They just lost something. Kind of disappeared. Yeah. I mean, but what did Chevy Chase do after the 80s?
They lost their edge. Yeah.
Guy was a fucking superstar in the 80s, man. Steve Martin's different for me. I grew up with Steve Martin doing Father of the Bride and things like that. It's just wasn't as good.
Yeah. It's peak time. Yeah.
Still,
same with Bill Murray. His peak period was the 80s.
It just
did some great films in the 90s, John, but
the
80s is where you'll remember him for his performances.
You just look, there's something about that period that was special and you can't recreate it. So not for me. No. I would just not have bothered making another Robocop. As an adult, I'll say that now in sort of like 2020 hindsight. As a kid, I loved it. As an adult, just leave it as a singular story. Hollywood, though, again, just has to make a fucking trilogy out of everything. They can't help themselves. But I digress. We're done here. I'm chatting absolute nonsense here, Steve. So I'm going to round it up here. Over an hour again. Wow. For 3 topics. Zack Snyder. He's wanted to do a video game adaptation of Gears of War. I've flung in Halo because... yeah, it's sort of clickbaity. It's not worked though, I don't think. Maybe it'll work after the fact. Would you like to see a Gears of War film, TV show, Zack Snyder directing it on Netflix? Share your thoughts down below about that. The Killer, David Fincher, passion project of nigh on 20 years. It's about a assassin having a sort of introspective look at his life as he waits for his target to appear. It's Fassbender, it's Tilda Swinton, it's David Fincher. What's your thoughts on it? Share your thoughts down below. Finally, thoughts on a potential Robocop sequel that wasn't to be, sadly. Neill Blomkamp, happened a day after the original movie. Your mum was going to come back. I've already fucking
Robocop.
Peter Weller.
Yeah.
He's come back. He was going to come back. Should it have happened? Do you agree with me? Shouldn't, because it was just something indelible about that period. Does that even make sense? Is that use of the word indelible right? I don't know. I've used it now. It's too late to take it back. Share your thoughts down below about that. Anything we've talked about, you can go down below in the comment section. That's the place to share your thoughts. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. I don't know what I'm doing over here. Do the same thing over on Twitch. Follow button and notifications button over there to see us on a completely different platform. And again, if you're listening via audio on Spotify podcasts, like the episode, follow us over there. All that's left to be said is until the next time, me and Stephen are done. I will be back tomorrow. Stephen will probably be back. I don't know. Whenever we're back. Bye-bye. Furiously looking down at that end screen graphic animation again. Bye-bye.